One stock to watch at the Open is Apple, a key supplier expecting the company to reduce iPhone 14 production even further. Murata Manufacturing seeing demand dropping in the coming months, saying, quote, "I hope that it won't be too deep." Ed Ludlow has more. Morning, Ed.
Yeah, good morning, John. We're down. We're flat on Apple, down just 0.1%. If we do close lower, it would be the 5th straight day of losses for Apple, its worst run in a month. What Norio Nakajima, the CEO of Murata, said, and he did not name Apple. He didn't explicitly name Apple, standard practice for Apple suppliers, but he referenced their biggest and their US-based customer, which is, it's Apple, John, that he is looking at the handset availability in stores of various markets, and particularly the iPhone 14, not the higher-end Pro model or Pro Max, just the iPhone 14. Based on the availability of that model, he thinks that actually the demand isn't there, and that is the basis for the expectation that they'll see a revision downwards, a further revision downwards for Apple. Remember, Apple no longer publishes a firm guide or a running total of production, but Bloomberg's already guided that that initial target of 90 million units was cut back to 87 million anyway for this final period of the year because of a slump in demand on that lower end handset anyway. So we are just a little softer, basically flat on Apple, not as sort of severe as it was in pre-market, but it's interesting because this has been a story that's gone and gone and gone. It is the lower end of the market that's the problem, not necessarily the high end, and interestingly, John, it's the high end of the market in the pros where we saw the production disruption in Zhengzhou, iPhone City in China.
Ed, it's a $2 trillion mystery, isn't it? Is it demand or supply? What's the big problem over there?
I mean, I think it is both. You know, this is the irony of the situation. There is demand for the higher-end handset, and we look at wait times for delivery, particularly in North America, the United States. Those have started to improve, and that was a basis of interest for a number of sell-siders, for example, UPS, this week. Earlier in the month, if you've gone onto Apple.com and tried to get yourself an iPhone 14 Pro, you wouldn't get it until after Christmas or even after New Year. That situation's improving. That's the model that's in demand. The lower-end model is not, which is consistent with what we see across consumer electronics. That at the lower end, for that broad portion of the market, that's where the demand has dropped off, and the supply is fine.